We're going to call the committee meeting to order for June 28th. My name is Counselor Water.
United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thanks for
Motion.
Great. Thank you, Alicia. Any 1 second? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Minutes are approved. For item 4, business statements. Very. Never a bad idea to express gratitude when you experience it. And I am grateful for our interim police chief, Jason Cynthia, and to the entire town of Manlius Police Department. It's been a really difficult last few months because they have had to go through many tough cases, as everyone's aware, and also leadership change. They have consistently served at the highest level. I want to media reporting have neighbors demonstrating curiosity about the original police agreement and projection about the role of and personnel issues. Could be people who think that we are not on the move path forward. And that isn't the case. We have all communicated our approval with Chief Cynthia, even you, Bobby, which you texted us and put in writing. Given his love of the community, his capability, and his experience. And we also agreed in our last meeting to move forward with our search for a new chief and that the town board and village mayors will be definitely.
I would like to make this say point of order. I would like to say point of order. I would like to make a motion that this committee accept the resignation of Chief Michael Cole.
Great. All in favor?
I didn't hear you speak.
Of course, yes. Welcome. Welcome.
Sure. I mean, I guess I would ask for just some clarification. It is one of the responsibilities of this committee to hire and fire the chief is
We didn't fire them.
hire and fire the hiring practices.
We didn't fire them.
Correct. I say it's in the original document. I did not say fire. I said my motion is for resignation.
Can I ask why you are serving your police agreement this way, and are you doing it on behalf of the mayor? Because the mayors have all have yeah.
You can't say, no,
I'm asking a question.
we represent the residents. You don't represent.
Okay. The mayor's appointed you. I expect you to bring that information. So
We represent. We represent. We really take offense. Our mayors have asked us to serve on behalf of the boards of the town. So we are not. I'm not doing this on behalf of my family. I have asked them numerous times. I'm doing this on behalf of our residents. So right here, it's overseeing personnel matters, including but not limited to the manner of employment, engagement, transferring, or discharging messages of subject to applicable provisions of law. To employ and discharge the chief of the police department in accordance with law and committee members. To oversee the employment and discharge such other officers, patrolmen, personnel, maybe needed and to fix their compensation.
So I understand that, so I'm, the same agreement as well, and it really raises the first point how there's not really been a relative disagreement for decades. And we're cherry picking pieces of this agreement. This committee is charged with reviewing this agreement and coming up with mayors already committed to the process to reassemble, reconvene, and establish appropriately modified dated agreement. So my question remains, verify the purpose of this gestural.
Sorry. You're just on a roll. I apologize.
Well, I get them. Not exactly. So I would still like some clarification because if we deem it a good, necessary procedural step to take, I'm not against it. But it feels a little bit like a two-faced factor too. We already know the issues. And, going to section 3D and saying, we need to follow that here retroactively. If thank you case that would accomplish something useful, let's make that case now.
And I think it's worth asking questions.
Well, I have clarification from a former police committee member that they were involved with the hiring. They voted on it. When I would go look for some minutes, coincidentally, those minutes are not in the town website. So I find it very ironic.
Okay, that's insulting to our operation. No need to do that.
Stated, must the Abbott report the town manager's police committee has selected a new police chief. He expects an official announcement next week. That was October 2nd, 2007.
Right.
So why is this any different from accepting the hiring? Different than hiring.
Okay, so
He is
you're talking about
resigned.
two different things, and now you're talking about chief Azalea's appointment.
I'm not talking anything about chasing the chief chasing the system. I'm talking about the resignation of chief public control.
The town board accepted that, that's true. And so you're asking now whether
The police committee.
great, I'm happy to, if you don't mind, I think we don't have our council here, I'm really happy to keep this open and go ahead and do that for me. But based on what Cumberland said, we have an issue with the police agreement itself not being held, infidelity by all parties and willy-nilly for decades. For decades. So I don't think there's any need to cancel it. I think what's the most important is that the villages can come together. And that's what the villages, that's what the mayor has agreed to. What mayor's agreed to is a conference. And people can hold the mayor's accountable and town hall.
So you're telling me at this position right now, the mayor's agreed to update
That's
the agreement. Where's that?
We have not been good.
I am, there should be.
should be in
Well,
contact.
wait,
That's-
we have that.
I'm in contact with the agreement that originally took place. That's
Great, well, then you should get in touch with them. That's what we understand.
There are a number of things. Majority of the states are not things that follow, to my knowledge, decades. What's that,
Approving the budgets.
right? Different management negotiations.
we all were sitting.
Well,
Another meeting, it was in there, they were pushing the union, another 7 minutes. So to say that it wasn't followed,
This meeting has not
Yes.
involved union negotiation.
2017, there was a meeting, they discussed it.
Yes, but we're not saying consistently that these follow. It's an inconsistency. Not saying that it hasn't happened, scattered shot.
at some point, it no doubt did, otherwise the agreement as it stands today wouldn't read as it does.
On numerous occasions, we discussed next chief of the family. We discussed who would be the new chief. And there were many times that there was a long discussion about who's going to be.
That's what's happening now.
Now, wait,
What's on our agenda?
wait. So at that point, we had the discussion, at that point, we then waited. We recommended to the town board.
Those are two different things. Recommending to the board versus appointing.
No, I'll take that. We recommended. Okay, fine. The next thing is, on union agreements, we did discuss it many times. I'm sure there are cases in the minutes.
What about budget? What about all personal decisions?
Well,
This
no.
is a broad and sweeping,
No. You're carrying your money.
right? The whole town
Okay.
pays for it.
So,
It's true.
okay, yeah, well, wait a minute. When we disbanded, how much money came to the town? with our
Equipment
equipment?
that is no longer,
I understand, but how much money?
the equipment, not, okay, I don't know, you can.
Okay, I'm
you
just
were
saying.
there, But I was not there, but I do believe the equipment. Before
It's no longer, okay, but that was part of it.
No doubt, understood. And what we agreed to in the last meeting, as I understood it, was that we were all a part of, and you've been brought in for every step of the process of hiring the new police chief. Do you take issue with the fact that interim police chief exists here in this function right now?
I think the interim.
The issue we have,
But. But I feel is that if we are city point chief, we should be involved. If we are committed to leave a chief of this duty, we should.
I mean, at this point, I'm going, you can pursue that if that is, as it is being covered, that's your issue, and I will take it on board and I hear. But I do not think that it is a strong enough case in his personnel issue. The fact that somebody resigned, I do not think this committee, by the formation, have any responsibility.
So should you have come to us and said, this person, going to resign?
Jane died.
When?
You heard about it, the flow of information, yes, it did, flow of information came to the mayors, and also the committee, and then the action.
email I received is that we were canceling the police meetings until further notice. Back in January or December.
Are you saying that your mayors did not alert you, we asked them to alert you to that? You did not get any information.
The only information we got is that there was issues with the chief of police.
We
Nothing
couldn't-
about, anything about being fired, resigned, not renewing the contract on January 1, nothing.
Okay, this is logistically complete, you're in a personnel issue. That person had a right to have their employment process happen outside of the police. And they did.
This committee oversees the police department. Don't you think we should have been involved
You
with
do
it?
not oversee this.
We're supposed to.
You know, that's not,
It's in the contract.
hence where we are.
So if you have an issue with that, why on day one did you not step in as chairwoman and say that we need to start following this contract to a T?
There are records saying that we need to update this specific on the moment that's not. Also, it's fully documented. 7-10. Elaine Denton before me, when she starts at this. She asked you all after the public service, public safety advisory committee, outcomes as a group. If you wanted to take on board upskilling, and there was no appetite amongst the members to do that.
Okay, I came on when Elaine just did her review, so
Right.
I wasn't here for a lot of it.
Right.
But I'd like,
Or
I
chosen multiple times not to take up the update.
would like to see where it is on record.
Right, you
I-
can look for it in the minute, and you're looking for it in the video. and all. But what I'm saying is, the village is in a town let this agreement, languish for a long, long time. And we reached a moment where it was important to get clarification. Now we're gonna do that. I don't understand why you don't see how we can report, or is that?
Is there a reason to choose?
You can ask them yourself.
No, I'm not allowed to.
That's right. You're both.
No, I'm not. He was told he could not talk to anyone about this.
Yes, have you ever been involved in, not ever, Bobby, in any situation where there's a personnel, and there's a settlement agreement, ever?
Fortunately, I'm not going to deal with settlement.
Absolutely standard procedure. We follow the letter of the law.
But actually, you are not prohibited from asking questions.
course not.
And whether they answer.
Exactly.
That's me answer, but
I agreed not to, based on the agreement, have any questions. I not to think about that for the agreement. And it's the town board who found that. But you're not. Honestly, I have to tell you, I would like you all to take a look at the way that you treated me as a leader of the community from the beginning. There's a real sense that I get of being illegitimate, not familiar enough with with the piece they're up to. It's just an attitude. It's pretty hostile and unprofessional.
How did you
Just
say
say
that? I've never said anything negative about you at all.
I'm telling you that
I
there's.
just thought I said negative things about the town board doing what I felt we should have done about. Exactly, and I sat right there and said it.
There has been, a chatter around what the ideas are about what this town board would do for the police from the beginning, since there was a position of their leadership. And I learned that this committee was standing so full guard as if there were these immense changes that needed to be protected instead of actually working. And I feel like this agreement with that. There is open conversation to report this.
What do you think about that?
There's no agenda about what is happening. Except that the town doesn't think that it's not working. There's no reason not to update this agreement and make sure that you can count on the procedures and they're following. I think it's important for everyone to agree.
What do they think is not working?
The fact that it has all of this language that we can follow by any.
yeah, this say the committee.
It's not.
This committee is not sitting in on disciplinary hearings.
No.
This department, a number of issues, what's in this agreement as part of the responsibilities of this board that have clearly not been for a long, long time. There was, I don't dispute that prior to grow, there was probably great discussion. As there is now, going to be next year. I again have to express gratitude for the fact that despite whatever appearances of chaos there have been, we've been able to have a continuity of service. We've been able to have a continuity of study to achieve those things despite this Swiss cheese of an agreement here, a number of issues, which we now will in good faith attempt to address. But again.
I'm trying to take power away. The fear about the president in terms of operations. So regarding I don't want to go down in until we say don't check on the I think it would just be a for show. I don't think it would be functionally useful.
What didn't that?
Right.
He was nice.
Okay. Okay.
So you need the motion table.
Yep, I will. I'd like to make a motion that to table this was. And second. All in favor? Great, all, opposed?
Aye.
All abstained. Great, 3-2. Okay, moving forward, as the chief, his job description. And honestly, I think just get actually to this stuff. Description, and also then it'll be right close to when Jim Miller speaks about the report that we did that together. So I'd like to move to 5.1, we have public presentations. In keeping with our efforts to make sure that we're all sort of all on the same page about what's been happening with the police department, what the public understands, and also the presentations that we've given. We out the press releases and just prioritize the presentation that obstacle. And I wanted to ask if you have any questions about those or
Yeah, here, sure that you read our newsletters, and you see all the time. You have that.
Yeah, we're planning for it right now, so we appreciate it. Thanks for keeping us in the loop.
And I just want to make sure that I'm not really good at social media, and I hope you got my comments.
I did, and I appreciate that. And I too am
I was
not
off track.
very good with it. So we had a discussion about how we can ensure that we get that information in the hands of everyone, regardless of their technology. So we're talking about how we're going to do it. So.
Operation Clean Air was great to know that vaping and selling tobacco products to underage kids, something that's been consistently pursued as a Vermont solution. So grateful. But somebody who's an 11-year-old and doesn't want them to ever vape.
That was an operation that the Village of Manoa, thank you, working hand in hand with our village partners and the New York State Police, in being able to have a successful conclusion to that. And we're going to continue to monitor those situations to ensure the protection of our kids.
Chief, what happened to those stores when you had fires?
I can't answer that. As I was told, there were something, the violation isn't against the store, it's against the individual. The arrest is against the individual. From what I asked that same question. So what was explained is that that remains to be seen. So just as like, if you have a license to sell alcohol and you continually run into a problem, those licenses could be up in front of the Alcohol Beverage Control Board. So they're really not sure yet. There are some things that they made us aware of, but it's still a learning process. But we're sending a very clear message that you want to operate within the law, and but when you step outside of that, we're going to be aggressive about holding you accountable.
So we've gotten both the Fish Park scam operation that's going on and the text scams regarding saying that our inspector is coming to your door,
Yes.
expect them. So that, I mean, it seems like the use of sort of technology within the crime seems more everyday, pervasive.
Yes, and that can be kind of troublesome in a lot of ways because it does take personnel that are specifically trained in certain areas to be able to manage those types of investigations. I'm just glad that they didn't have them when I was a police officer because of the complexity. We have a very young force, And I always hear from additional police administrators of the challenges of having a young and inexperienced. But I can tell you that our young people are far from inexperienced in life, and they bring a whole number of additional skill sets that I just look at them and go, wow, that was really incredible. You just did that. And they do some pretty sharp things. But it is an area in which that we struggle because of the significance and the intricacies of a lot of those investigations that come right back to now. So it's, we're learning as we go. We're ensuring our folks have what we need to be able to be good at it. And if we don't, we have our partners that we can turn to assist us in those investigations.
It's said here about the fire, but this is another how the fire departments together and consider. We're very grateful for that. I asked you to tell us a little bit about what's planned for securing or an update on what's going on.
Well, first, on behalf of the residents, village, the village board, and it's great how quickly the town police department was able to get to the bottom of what where to say the segments go, what happened, and that was remarkable. Our Memorial Day parade, I was standing next to Paul and he just said, we're missing. So it was a shock, and it still is a shock. We was devastated, but it was part of the job. If you're not aware, Michael Bean is our SWAT expert. We have to have a SWAT expert in order to keep swans because it's prohibited unless you have an agreement and you have one with them. Michael is completing good watch of the signals, and he said it's time for them to come back. The plan is to after the pond. However, Manny will likely stress the word likely be located because males, swans, and babies don't work well. And that's where we're going on a month, so a few more weeks, we should know. But again, gratitude.
No, that there were cameras that were going on this.
Cameras went up by Wednesday. I think there was an initial electrical issue that's been resolved. There is streaming available for community. And the DPW also has the ability to monitor.
It's great. When you can send us the link to stream to watch them happen, I'm sure people that live outside the community and know the community would love to check that out. Are there any updates that you all have going into the holiday season with the summer?
Just that our annual 4th of July parade is coming up. We certainly very grateful again for the support we get. Police department. That is on July 4th.
Pulling for the sidewalks.
Yeah. Guarantee those things on their schedule. You just can't say, hey, you've got a big event coming, let's get this going.
That's exactly what I'm
No weather. In the critical response, our representative duties here, and we were able to ask them about how it really wasn't best practice for both sides to be ripped up at the same time because then there's accessibility for folks who need them, and that wasn't villages doing, that was the DOT doing it. So the DOT was going back to the project management team and was trying to see if they could keep that in mind, even with the ongoing efforts to see. So that's, I don't know if that is a difference yet or not. Anything else on that you want to do that table and to share? Friday night. subjects of reading of it.
I can't realize it, you said the question.
No. Um, Well, with that, if there are no other items, I'd like to go back up to item 4.2, which is the chief of police job description. I'm going to open up on the phone, and this is an opportunity for us to look at the graph as it is now and take notes and ask you to these are first look at one that is on to somebody here to recommend some initial comments that there's this topic. If not, we want to incorporate them.
I'd just like to thank everyone that helped and contributed to the document and tried to bring that kind of spirit to it. And also the good comments I got all the way around are all just great pieces. So I know that from this standpoint, civil service has a lot to do with what we can and cannot put through there as far as they regulate so much of the job description piece. So I made a recommendation, and I know that it has it in a that we have an attorney that specializes in civil service law take a look at the job description, determine what, if anything, added, removed. If it has to be removed, but we still feel, because in general, I think this meets the spirit of a lot of our discussions, whether they've been here, whether they've been sent to me, or whether they've been one-on-one conversations that we've had. Even if they have to be removed because civil service dictates it, that may be something in which you can use when you go through the selection process. So you'd be able to utilize those points and when you develop whatever process you're going to use for the selection process. So there's flexibility. And I think it's a document that incorporates a lot of the spirit of what you've been looking to do and what the community wants from you and what you have communicated to me that your community has asked for from you.
One of the things that I hope we should do is between this and the next meeting, develop, I'm happy to provide information and need all input to develop our also the processes. So where this description is everything about the whole process, where this description will be published, how it will be marketed, how basically the whole recruitment effort. And what the interview process will look like, the whole nine yards. So this is an introduction. I just want to make sure we are on the same page about what in this description before we start developing the whole basic.
I don't. I wanted to say thank you earlier prior to this. So I'll leave this time. Sally had insights. Most recommendations that I think. I don't have a bone to pick.
Yeah, it might make sense to ask Jason to say a few words about it if you're open to that. Walk us through some thinking about how this would differ from the last one. If you're open to that. Do you mind?
I think it's broken down into basically an overview. The first part talks a little bit about our community. I think that that's so important because our community is town of Manlius and our 3 villages. Community is very specific about what they would like to see. It's a community in which that after so many years that I've been here, folks know what they want and they know what they don't want. And I think it's important that we register that and memorialize that in our selection process. So describing our community and the nuances of our community is important. It also describes truly our community service-based law enforcement concept, where our vision is very specific. It's service with integrity that exceeds the expectation of our community. The organization takes ownership of our community. It's so important that we do. So it sends a clear message that's what we want for our future leadership to understand, that is necessary and fundamental. Talks a little bit about our adherence to high standards and what comes with those high standards. So being a state and nationally accredited organization, that says a lot about an organization, but it also helps. It's going to help you direct your selection process, because that's not something that you want to jump into as an amateur when you're looking for the top seat in the job. So there are things in which that will help you there. Talks a little bit about some basic qualifications, but then we put in there like some preferred competitive candidates would possess the following attributes. Those are a lot of that is like from some of the conversations we've had or the emails that we've had, is those attributes that we talk about. I think that are so important. The ability to maintain positive, develop and maintain positive relationships with not only our elected officials, business community leaders, advisory boards, our friends from the media and the community. But it also mixes in, some proven abilities to deal with strategic planning, long-range planning. Talks about role model and positive role modelship, customer service, ethical behavior, transparency. Then we talk a little bit about some of the general responsibilities. So those are more ones in which that were specific to the agency, or what I see and see and what we had historically had. So I just kind of built out some of what was there and just added some things which that I see. Again, I think it's a good idea to have it flushed out by someone that has a significant experience in civil service to make sure that it's appropriate and falls within the law. Before, that would be my recommendation before you do anything with it. Put it out and make a discussion. I don't think it would be difficult for someone to be able to do that.
Make sure that we. Okay. I want to encourage everybody, by the way, to watch the Cyber SBO presentation that's there. See if that's saying all the authors will talk about that. But moving on to the exchange report, Jason, do you mind sharing with us what's going on and what's for you?
I don't mind at all. I know there's so much going on, a lot of discussion here and discussion in other places in regards to the police department, but it's not about the police department. The police department and the members of our organization are working extremely hard every day to ensure this community gets the best. Exceeding expectations. We provide service with integrity. We focus on exceeding the expectations of our community. You can have faith in them. All the other pieces, I leave to you. My job is to ensure that we give you the best every day, and we will continue to do that regardless of where this discussion takes you. I'm not involved and I take no offense. I love America and I love the fact that we have the right to have differences of opinion. It will not change the way this organization moves forward, protecting citizens. Very lucky to be here, as the interim, because the folks there are wonderful. They're young, they're excited, they want to be here, they're committed to this community, and it's very exciting for me because I consider myself older. And so being around them and they have so much energy, it drifts off on me, it helps me motivate and get involved. In fact, I worked Friday night on the road in uniform, got to go on calls, albeit it really hurt getting in and out of the car regularly. But it was great and I enjoyed it. And it brought me back to the reasons why I went into this organization, of being around these folks and watching how they handle our citizens and the professionalism and empathy and care that they put into it. You know, I have faith in our teachers. I can't always say that I always feel that, but these folks do it for me. We are constantly evaluating our brand. We updated that vision that we talked about. We've been doing some concurrent messaging, not only for external the organization, but internal. It's important that our folks know what makes us special. What makes our organization special is what also makes our community special. And understanding the community we serve and being able to serve it at the levels of which that they demand, so very important. So we've been talking about that with our folks. Our brand, our history, the history of the organization. It's great to see Mike Darmento here, former chief, former captain. I used to clean his police car. Wonderful leader, outstanding individual. I can't say enough about him. I learned so much from him and I continue to. So, I need our folks to realize that they stand on the backs of people like Mike. They have a commitment when they see that. Why are they there? What are they doing? The reasons that you're there, and why we work so hard to develop a team of members that come together to do the right thing each and every time. I make sure that they understand the backs they stand on. So we're talking about back to the basics, what we do, what are the expectations of our community, how do we do it? We do it well. Pursuing excellence. We realize that we're constantly doing that. If we're not pursuing excellence, then we're not doing our job. We're currently working to make some temporary schedule changes, and that's something in which we talked about, just to get us through some times until we get our folks and our staffing to where we need to. And we're having conversations with our union partners, very collaborative. They've been a part of the process. I've been very happy about the relationships that we have, and we've been very open. It's transparent. We all need to come together to succeed. And we've been talking about those. We've constructed some models based on our current, our July with the knowns and time off and scheduling. We've been doing some education within our own command and with our own folks. We have, I've always focused on mission success, but mission success comes through the success of our folks doing. And so I need to do whatever I can to make them successful and give them the tools to be successful and meet the standards that I have out there. So I'm focused on that constantly. We have young folks, we've got to constantly train, we've got to constantly make sure that they understand what those expectations are, but how to meet those things. And with that, I also stress balance. Balance is so important. I have watched when organizations get out of balance, when people work too much, do too much. Performance dwindles, complaints increase, problems develop. So I'm constantly looking at ways in which that we can ensure that we provide that level of service, and we do so in a way that doesn't burn our people out. So that's why I say I'm looking at these scheduling pieces and working with them to understand what things. Our command staff, we're working one night a week, bringing our experience, kind of leveraging that experience on the road and field with our folks, and connecting with our folks. Whoever's on call that week is working, coming in on the weekend at some point, and spending a little time on the weekend with our folks, helping out, checking in, meeting up on the road. So I'm pushing my commanders to do a little bit more, but I'm doing it with them. I'm not asking to do anything I'm not doing. We're currently hiring. We're in the selection process. So we have gone through the first list that's out. We have some interviews tomorrow. Start at 8:15. I'll be involved in it. And we're excited to talk to some folks that are looking for a career in law enforcement and looking to be a part of our organization, the type of service-based law enforcement, community-based service law enforcement that we do here. It's important that we make sure that they understand those expectations. So that starts tomorrow. And we're going to continue what I'm seeing from patterns is that we need to be in the front of this rather than constantly from chasing it. So we have developed kind of a 24/7 footprint where folks can even just go online and start the processing right online. We get notified, they get like basic survey information that they can complete, and we can understand where they are and what we can do based on civil service and what they need to do if they haven't done. Our staff analysis is complete. It is in draft form. I returned it once for some additional information that I wanted clarified. I actually have a command staff breakout session on Monday afternoon where we will be getting together and discussing it. It is a deep document and then also has recommendations in it. We'll be discussing all of that on Monday internally. And after that, we will be working with our union partners and having the discussion and having them involved in the document and getting their input. Once we have everyone's input and review process, then I will make that available. One of the areas that I've always focused on are ways in which that we can give tools, put tools in the hands of our members that may be able to make a difference in crisis situations. We all know that our best tool is right here. But these tools, less lethal opportunities to use impact munitions in the field, given the fact that, we would have a situation that would merit it. We have developed a program for carrying 12-gauge shotguns with less lethal munitions, beanbags in. And rather than having one of them in the sergeant's car, we would put them in the hands of all of our people. So when they had a situation, in minutes count, they're not waiting for someone to drive from wherever they are to get there. They would have an extra tool on their tool belt. We just completed and have been completing our training on our firearms training portion, regularly scheduled firearms training, just adding in a component to it. And this program will be up and running shortly. We're also conducting internal drone training to increase members' interest and success with FAA licensing. We have been using this tool. I have found it to be incredibly useful on a number of cases as of late. It is invaluable for us. It has made a difference for us, kept my folks safe in difficult situations. So we are working to increase our knowledge and our skill set when it comes to operating. Finally, we are always evaluating our written directive system. The written directive system is the memorialized manner in which that we execute law enforcement operations in our community. One area in which that I'm asking for additional eyes on is our bias motivated incidents in crime investigations. We like a wide review of our written directives like this, because we know what maybe the industry standard is saying, but what is our community like? So what I'd like to do is, I know you have a lot on your plate, I'm not giving you more homework, what I'd like to send it to you electronically, our written directive. There's no time and date stamp for yet. I just want you to take a look at it. Look at it. If you have people that you know that may be interested in contributing, get their opinions, take a look, see what you think. If there's something we're missing, let us know. We're going to be sharing it with our federal partners coming up in a discussion with the FBI and asking them what they're seeing regionally to ensure that we can meet the needs of our community should we have a bias base to ensure that we do it good way. And I'm open to any questions.
sharing a little bit about the team, less control, feedback, and collaboration, what really compels you to make sure that you make this change sooner rather than later? And also, is it a grant opportunity and you need support for maybe applying for support for that?
It's not a grant opportunity.
Small.
Yeah, it's, we've already done what we had to do. We've had most of the missions, other than buying some of the missions. We've had the items that we need. When you look at when I started policing, I was issued a pistol, 2 magazines, a long baton, and a reader. And if you look at what our members carry now, it's significantly improved. We have been constantly searching and looking for ways in which that we can better manage crisis situations, reduce situations that cause injury, manage violent actors, and do it in a way in which that if we have the time and the situation dictates, we are able to do it without serious physical injury to the other person. Less lethal impact munitions gives us some of those additional opportunities when employed at the right time, right situation, to be able to effectively gain control of people that otherwise may have a situation that would require us to use a different level of force, up to and including lethal. So it's another tool on the tool belt of our folks. We don't use it, we don't isolate it, we use it in conjunction with everything else that we have. We look at the opportunity to deal with folks in crisis or in situations from doing it as far away as we can, because distance creates the time to react. Distance creates the time for us for better decision. The farther away that we can employ technology, the greater opportunity we have to make a better decision, to use better tools, and to get a better outcome. So we have, up close, we have our hands, and we have different kinds of batons. And then a little bit, we have spread, and we have some other things. Then we have a taser up to a certain amount of feet. We're looking to project out that a little bit farther to create even more distance, be able to engage people in those critical incidents and give us more time to be able to make as good a decision as we possibly can, given the set of circumstances.
But I got that on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Sometimes decisions like that are made, the best decision is to wait till the next day. And let, get the head back in the court. Couple other things that I just want to comment on. That I coached for a long time, and enthusiasm is number one. And your enthusiasm with regard to the police department. What I heard is that's what makes things go. I'm not trying to compliment you completely because I'm sure there are other issues, but I have it sort of bothered me. I heard that you were bad-mouthing people on this committee, but I'm not bad-mouthing, not bad-mouthing my town board. My criticism I get is not towards you, or money. It is how things. So that's what I'm thinking. I like the idea that basics, that's the way to approach things. Problems, you have a footprint, that footprint works. I like all these things. I totally have been doing this for many years. I'm not a micromanager. So making out things that I think the chief should be able to do in setting. I didn't feel like it was okay for the chief of part of the department. That's you.
all I'm going to do. Felt like I wouldn't recommend. I'm trying to express. I want to. With all of that, and I want to thank everybody for today. And continue to be committed to what we need to do for people. That's number one, and committed to supporting this department, making sure that it can do what it needs to do. With that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Great, so we're good. Okay, all in favor?
Yeah,
I see you love right here.